What is up, everybody? It is the day after all hell broke loose. UFC 303. Conor McGregor out, Alex Tejeda in. But one fight that is going to remain on that card, and I, for one, and I think a lot of you guys are going to be very happy about that. Ian Machado Garry, number 7 welterweight, undefeated Ian Machado Garry, 14-0. He will be facing this young man, Michael Venom Page. Michael, welcome. I appreciate you, brother. I guess I should call you the king of kung fu in the UFC after that Kevin Holland.
I like that. I'm gonna start using that one.
Yeah, there you go. What was your take? Is it good for Michael Page or bad that Conor McGregor drops off that card?
To be fair, it doesn't. For me, I've never really cared either way. Like, as a fan, it'd be good to see like Conor McGregor perform and see him back, and obviously see what that looks like as a fan. But separately, I'm on my own journey. I don't need anybody's hype to sell mine. I think I'm very well known in the game now, and people know what I come with. So it doesn't matter that he's on or he's off.
Yeah, as you can say, the getting that extra set of eyeballs that usually a McGregor fight brings. Like you say, you're well known in the game, but you're one fight into your UFC career, whereas even Ian Machado Garry has what I think 7 UFC fights.
Yeah, no, definitely, but it just doesn't phase me. I was actually pushing to be on Manchester. That should tell you how much it doesn't bother me. You know what I
Sure.
mean? I just thought it'd be give me little bit more time. It also just made sense. Ian, Gary, Irish, me, English, being on the UK card. I felt it made the most sense. But we're here. I'm still excited for it. But I do agree. Obviously, having those extra eyes is always important. But they'll eventually see me.
When I look at this, and of course, the main event between Prohaska and Pereira may change things a little bit because we saw them fight before, and you got to think that that's going to be a high contact, really fun fight.
Hmm.
But I think your fight with Gary, you look at that fight and you go, boy, this might be the fight of the night here. They're two really good kickboxers. You got to think that's going to be a pretty entertaining bout. How do
Yeah.
you view the match and what Ian brings?
I think, yeah, as you say, I think it's quite obvious. Ian's a very talented kickboxer. I'm an extremely talented kickboxer, and I just think, yeah, those us two colliding at this show is definitely going to be something that people can't blink at all. Like, you have to be on point, and it's just going to be an explosive fight.
I almost think, him being a former Cage Warriors champion and everything, he's got a big reputation in the UK and everything, and you having fought, your career over there. Do you feel like this is going to be one of the fights that the fans, the fans in the England, Ireland, and that whole area are going to be looking forward to most on the card?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think obviously because of the changes that have happened of recently. Um, Sorry. Yeah, because
Uh,
of the changes that have happened of recently on the card, people are definitely going to be looking more forward to our fight, definitely. But yeah, in general, it's just about, for me, the focus is more about the performance on that night. Like, it's about making sure I'm the best me, which I feel like training camp's actually gone really, really well. And I'm just looking forward to putting on a show for the guys.
Well, I know UFC 299 was a loaded show, a lot of great performances, but you really opened a lot of eyes. There were a lot of headlines on Sunday morning after the win over Kevin Holland. What was your reaction? Like, Dana White always talks about the UFC jitters, and it's different when you finally get to the UFC. You were a veteran. I think you were excited to be there. But what was it like looking back on it Sunday morning after your first UFC experience?
Yeah, like, I for me, I can be quite hard on myself anyway, and I feel like I could have been better, and it's weird to say that considering that I had a great performance, but
Right.
I just know myself. So I'm not saying the UFC jitters are real. I just know that I could have performed better. For me, I feel like I've just been in the game too long to care about occasions or care about titles or, or, you know, specific moments that people like to kind of build up. So for me, I just go, and that's the focus, just me being myself, the best me on that day.
So you broke up a little bit there, but you did say you don't care about titles. But I was thinking you're number 14, Ian Gary's number 7. You win this fight, and all of a sudden you're in a position where you're among those elite contenders who might be in the next shot. Does that go in your mind at all?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's the reason I'm here. I've said in a few interviews now that this is the goal. Like I'm in here for I say it like this. I'm in here for a short time, so I want to make a lot of noise. I want to make
Mhm.
I don't want to climb that ladder as quickly as possible. I don't want to. I'm not in it to just slowly build and so on and so forth. Which is why I wanted a fight like Kevin Holland as a start, because that shows how serious I am about my goals here. So yeah, 100%. This fight puts me right at the top of the division, exactly where I want to be, and then we take the next step from there.
By the way, what was your reaction to Kevin Holland coming up with a submission in his last fight? That probably that's a word that you never would associate with Kevin Holland is submission, right?
Yeah, no, but you need to obviously everybody knows what Kevin Holland's MO is about. He likes to strike, but he got caught out there. And again, when you get caught with such a big punch, you're forced in areas that you may not necessarily like to do. But I knew he was going to be capable at doing, which he obviously showed with a break there. So yeah, it was a cool fight to watch actually.
I want to run something past you. You got a lot of attention, and I was surprised at how much attention you got when you fought Mike Perry, right, in the BKFC. And I'm curious, like, what you thought of that experience, and were you surprised that here's this little bare knuckle fighting promotion that hadn't been around for only a handful of years, and all of a sudden, it was like popping up huge. What was that experience like for you, and would you ever do that again?
I personally, I actually really enjoyed it. I actually really loved it. My family, friends, anybody that loved me didn't. They hated every moment, every second of it. But I genuinely really, really enjoyed the experience. I definitely would have altered a few things, like and done a few things a little bit better in preparation. But yeah, I actually really really enjoyed it. And I even when people ask me like, would I do that again, and I 100% said yes, and I really would.
How much different is it than a gloved fight, right? How much different does it make it? And do you have to strike differently when you don't have when your hands are just wrapped and nothing else on your hands?
Yeah, it definitely changes. I think what as we've seen with a lot of people, there is there is you see in how they even wince, like when getting hit by a bare knuckle feels very different. It
Yeah.
feels very different. You see that I've seen a couple of times now where people have been hit by Mike, and you see they're almost like wow, I didn't expect it to feel like that, and it's hard to train for it because you can't train bare knuckle and
Right.
spar bare knuckle because you just you're going to damage yourself way too much for the fight. So it's very hard to your reality kicks in when you get in there and you get hit, and sometimes it's a big check to your reality and at that moment, and you kind of just have to push through. But I enjoy that kind of feeling. I don't know why it brought me back to just ground zero, and literally you're in there and defending yourself. This is not a sport. It is you have to defend you. This is self-defense. Like yeah, you're in it.
Right.
You're in it. So like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that experience of it. Like I said, if I ever got a chance to do it again in future, I'd adjust a few things in my training, just to make sure I come out on top.
I've covered fights starting with boxing for over 40 years, and I always heard that the gloves are there to protect your hands, not to help the opponent, right? But then when you describe bare knuckle fighting, you go, well, maybe those gloves have an impact beyond just protecting the fighter's hands.
Yeah, yeah, it is definitely that, because a lot of what you see every time I landed a strike is like a cut and a bruise and another cut. Like literally everything that is done, whether it be a soft punch or a power punch, took effect. You know, I mean, I think that's the difference. Whereas some people can, some people can take a couple of shots and it's okay. They're using that to measure their distance. Whereas where in the bare knuckle, you can't get away with doing that. You know, or you struggle to get away with doing that without actually having severe damage. But this is what I say is it's weird how things work out. I feel like, although I felt like I won that fight, although I didn't win that fight, I feel like it was meant to be. It was a great promotion for me,
Yeah.
regardless, because people didn't think somebody as stylistic as
Yeah.
myself would be able to kind of dig deep and put their head down and kind of swing it out with somebody as tough as Mike Perry. But also Mike Perry has found his place, and I feel like if he had lost that fight, it may not have looked the same for him, but he's like found his place. And I've continued to grow in my career as well. So I think it's just all worked out for the best, and I just enjoyed that experience and I enjoyed sharing that ring with Mike Perry.
Yeah, you both find your place. I'm sure you're speaking of gloves. You're using those new UFC gloves as you get ready. I've heard some people say they're similar to maybe what the Bellator gloves were, but curious what you think of them. You used the other UFC gloves at UFC 299. Mixed reaction at UFC 301. I think would be fair to say people weren't that, or 302. Excuse me. People weren't so crazy about them overall. What's your experience been with the new gloves in training?
I've tried them on. They fit slightly more comfortable than the first one. I really didn't like the gloves that when I first came over. I was actually surprised that that at such a high level that these are the gloves that they were using. And yeah, the new gloves, they're not that far different. So I know there's complaints, but I had complaints as soon as I put my hand in. I still got complaints, but for me, the fact that I can fight you without gloves, I'm okay with a slightly uncomfortable glove.
Last thing about that, though, do you think that I think the stated goal is, hey, end eye pokes, right? And that so many fights have been ruined by pokes in the eye. Do you feel
Mhm.
these gloves can accomplish that?
No, not at all. And we've seen, I think who was I watching? Randy Brown.
Yeah.
He poked his opponent in the eye a few times. The reason why the Bellator gloves worked is because it curved your hand. Whereas, so naturally, when my hands relax, my fingertips are pointing down. Whereas the UFC gloves are flat. So they're completely like this.
Yeah.
So the old ones were like that, and then these ones are also like that. I don't know. I genuinely don't know who they used to kind of establish this new glove, but they need a bit more time. Or come speak to me. I'll give them the answer.
Well, there you go. We got the thing. Last thing, let's just wrap up with this. It's been a long time. I think 5 years since you fought 3 times in a year. But we're end of June. You're going to be fighting for your second time this year. Assuming you're successful, assuming you come out healthy, do we see you in the second half of the year one time?
100%. That's the good thing about my style is I very rarely end up, badly damaged. Even when I had 15 minutes in the cage, people haven't really landed crazy shots. So the good thing about that means I can fight quite consistently. So yeah, I'm hoping to get the result here, then end of the year, get another fight in before the new year.
Well, we will look forward to seeing that. But first, we got to see UFC 303. Going to be a fun one with Ian Machado Garry, Michael Venom Page. Appreciate you, brother. Good luck to you,
No
man.
problem, man. Thank you so much, man. Take care.